Rodri built genius who changed modern football. Chapter 1, the silent leader. Some footballers become famous because they score spectacular goals. Some become legends because they produce unforgettable moments. And then there are players who quietly control everything. They dictate the tempo, they organize the attack, they stop danger before anyone notices it. They make impossible football look effortless. That player is known across the world simply as Rodri. A middle ladder whose intelligence, composure, and tactile brilliance have redefined the modern defense field role. Rodri received the applause, while forwards received the applause. Rodri received the applause. Rodri builds every victory. This is the story of the man who became football's ultimate conductor. Chapter 2, growing up in Madrid. Rodri was born on 22 June 1996 in Madrid, Spain. Unlike many football stars who grew up in different circumstances, Rodri enjoyed a supportive family that emphasized addition as much as football. From a young age, he displayed remarkable discipline. Instead of relying on flashy tricks, he relied on understanding the game. Every pass had purpose, every movement had meaning. Coaches quickly noticed that Rodri wasn't just talented, he was exceptionally intelligent. His greatest strength wasn't speed, it was thinking 2 or 3 moves ahead. Chapter 3, Atlético Madrid's academy. Rodri joined Atlético Madrid's famous youth academy. The club was known for discipline, hard Rodri fit perfectly. Yet football is rarely a straight path. As a teenager, released him. Some believed he lacked the physical strength required for elite football. For many young players, that would have been the end. But Rodri refused to give up. Sometimes rejection becomes the beginning of greatness. Chapter 4, Villarreal, building the foundation. After leaving Atlético, Rodri joined Villarreal's academy. There everything changed, the club gave him time to improve, time to master positional football. Rodri developed into one of Spain's most intelligent young midfielders. He learned how to control possession, break pressing systems, read opponents, protect the defense, and launch attacks with precision. By the time he reached Villarreal's first team, Europe had started paying attention. Irreplaceable. The Rodri story. A player good enough to be voted the best on the planet. A player whose true value only became visible the year he stopped playing. This is the story of how he got back. A training pitch outside MetLife Stadium. Late afternoon, thick East Coast summer heat. A cluster of Spanish players work through a passing drill, tight triangles, one touch. One man in the middle barely seems to move, and yet the ball keeps finding him. In 2 days, the stadium hosts a World Cup final. Spain against Argentina, a shot at the country's second world title in history. Wearing the captain's armband is a 30-year-old from Madrid with a scar on his right knee that tells a story most footballers never have to write. 22 months ago, that knee buckled on an ordinary Sunday afternoon in Manchester, and an entire football club found out in real time, in lost points and empty trophy cabinets, exactly how much of its success had been built on the shoulders of one unglamorous midfielder. His name is Rodrigo Hernandez Cascante. Almost nobody calls him that. They call him Rodri. And for most of the last decade, football's highest honors and its harshest lessons have circled the same simple fact: you rarely notice what he does until the day he isn't there to do it. Irreplaceable. Irreplaceable. Part 1. The boy who read the game. Arc of youth team football, Western Madrid, mid-2000s. Before anything else, Rodri was a kid at Rey Amanda, a modest club on the edge of the capital, playing in age groups where most children are still chasing the ball in one chaotic swarm. He wasn't the fastest boy on any pitch he played on. What he had instead was harder to coach. He seemed to know where the ball was going before it got there. Atlético Madrid's academy signed him at 11. He spent 6 years inside one of the most rigid youth systems in Spanish football, absorbing a version of structure and positioning rather than flair. By 2013, though, Atlético didn't see a starter. They saw a talented 17-year-old who needed men's football somewhere else. So, on a free transfer, it turned into one of the most consequential free transfers in modern Spanish football. Across 3 seasons at Villarreal, he went from unused prospect to first-team fixture, 84 to danger before it arrived. The club that let him go came back to get him. Part 2, the homecoming. In the summer of 28, Diego Simeone brought Rodri back to Atlético for a fee in the region of 20 million. This time with a first-team squad number and real expectations. It didn't take long to repay it. Weeks into his second spell, he played his part as Atlético beat rivals. Real Madrid as Atlético beat rivals. Rule 4-2 to lift the UEFA Super Cup. He went on to make 47 appearances that season as Atlético finished runners in La Liga. And by the time the camp ended, comparing and started following him everywhere. Sergio Busquets, not a tackler in the traditional sense, not a box engine, something rare. A midfielder who showed up in the team if around them because he'd already closed it down for the opposition first. Manchester City were watching, so reportedly we're Bayern Munich. Part 3, the record fee. On July 4, 2019, Manchester City triggered the 7 million in release clause in Rodri's Atlético contract worth around record fee at the time and signed him to a 5-year deal. He was 23 and the job waiting for him was almost absurd in its difficulty. Replaced Fernand Midfielder, whose positional sense had quietly held Pep Guardiola's entire machine together for years. The adjustment wasn't instant. He was 23, and the job waiting for him was almost absurd in its difficulty. Replaced Fernandinho, the defensive mid-lighter, had quietly held Pep. The adjustment wasn't instant. Guardiola's system asked more of a defensive mid-lighter than almost any role in football. Not just winning roll ball back, but dictating tempo, splitting center backs, disguising the next center backs, disguising the next pass before the opposition can read it. It took time for Rodri to stop thinking about the role and start living inside it. 2021, Rodri graduates from Joma University, Castellón, with a degree in business administration and management. It's a small detail that says something larger about him. While establishing himself as finishing a university degree, the kind of football teammates describe as watching the game like chess played at speed. By his 3rd season at City, there was no longer a debate about whether he belonged in Guardiola's side. He was the side. Part 4, the metronome. Every player has one moment that becomes. Every player has one moment that becomes short hot for a career, whether they want it to or not. For Rodri, it arrived in the 68th minute of the 2023 Champions League final. Manchester City unbeaten all season in the competition. We're locked at Villarreal with Inter Milan. A pass from Akanji found Bernardo Silva. The ball cannoned back off a defender and dropped at Rodri's feet just outside the box. He took a touch, picked a spot, and curled a finish to finish pass. Two covering defenders into the corner of the net. It was the only goal of the game. It gave City their first ever Champions League title. Completed an impressive domestic title. Completed an impressive domestic European treble. And made Rodri player of match in the biggest fixture of his life. Only the 2nd English club after Manchester, your 1999 to sweep all 3 trophies in a single season. Opposition managers stopped treating him as a supporting piece and started treating him as the whole engine. Spain coach Luis de la Fuente would later perfect computer a description that stuck because it was accurate. Between a Euro 2024 qualifying defeat to Scotland in March 2023 and Sep 2024, Rodri did not lose a single match for club or country. 84 games, 1 defeat. By any measure that mattered, he was the best midfielder alive. Nobody was arguing about it anymore. Part 5, the summer of Spain. Spain arrived at Euro 24 with a young, gifted squad and a knockout draw that read like a gauntlet of football royalty. Germany in the quarterfinals, France in the semifinals, England waiting in the final. They won every one of those games. 40-11 one match, 439 pass fours, a 90-day 4-6-7 that set the tempo for a Spain side built on patient, possession-based control. They won every one of those games and every group match besides, going 7 for 7 across the tournament to match 100 record last achieved by France in 1984. Rodri was the constant. He started all but one match, completed 40-11 to 439 passes, a 92-84 success rate, and set the tempo for a Spain side built on patient possession-based control. His one goal of the tournament, an equalizer against Georgia in the last 16, was a rare glimpse of what he could do further forward. Mostly, he did what he always did, made the team around him better in ways that rarely made the highlight reel. In the final against England, Spain won 21. Rodri didn't finish the game and the injury forced him off at halftime. A small detail almost lost in a night of celebration. Spain lifted a record 4th European championship. Days later, UFA's technical panel named Rodri player of the term. Attention, a deep-lying defensive mid-flyer had just been named the single best player at a major international tournament. It had happened before, it didn't happen often. By October, Rodri's year read less like a season and more like a career condensed into 12 months. A Champions League medal, a 4th straight Premier League title, a European championship, and now the Ballon d'Or, European football's oldest individual honor award, ahead of Real Madrid's Vinicius Jr. by a 41-point margin among a jury of hundreds. International Generalist, he was the first midfielder to win it since Luka Modric in 2018. It should have been a clean celebration, it wasn't. It wasn't. Real Madrid, informed of the result hours before the ceremony, chose not to attend, a boycott that turned an awards gala into a genuine controversy within the sport, the club publicly accusing the organizer of disrespect. Rodri refused to be drawn into a manufactured rivalry. Speaking to Spanish radio days later, still on crutches, he was characteristically composed. It didn't hurt me that they weren't present. It was, he said, his moment shared with his family, though his own personal ranking that night would have placed Real Madrid's Danny Carvajal above Vinicius anyway. He had just been named the best footballer on the planet. He would not play another competitive match for nearly 7 months. For nearly 7 months. The tear. 2 months earlier, almost to the day, he'd been forced off with a knee problem in a European final. Nobody connected the two incidents at the time. Nobody had reason to then in just his third Premier League into the new season. In an ordinary looking challenge with Arsenal's Thomas, Arsenal's parties, Rodri's right knee gave way, he stayed down. He didn't get back up, but diagnosed confirmed then the next morning was as severe as football injuries get. A rupture, entry, or ligaments damage, a grade 3 tier requiring full reconstructive surgery. Guardiola broke the news to reporters within hours, and the phrase he reached for would end up defining his club's entire season. Irreplaceable. Rodri's irreplaceable. Assembly Moreo. At the time, it sounded like a manager softening the blow of losing his best player. Within months, it would read like a prophecy. A prophecy. Part 8, proof by AB Essence. Man City win rate 2024 with Rodri available, true 74 without him, 61 overall, 55 in the Premier League. There's a particular kind of statistic that only exists because something has gone wrong, and City's numbers without Rodri belong in that category. Across the games he missed that autumn, City's win rate in all competitions dropped by more than 10 points. In the league specifically, a team that had won 4 straight titles started drawing and losing games it would once have controlled without much drama. The Premier League crown, defended by City for 4 consecutive seasons, passed to Liverpool in 2024-25. Manchester City closed out the campaign without a trophy for the first time since the 2016-17 season. Rodri's irreplaceable. Assembly Moreo. At the time, it sounded like a manager softening the blow of losing his best player. Within months, it would read like a prophecy. Rodri's irreplaceable. Irreplaceable. Guardiola never stopped reaching for the same word. Months into the crisis, still without his midfield anchor, he put a question to a room of reporters that had no comfortable answer. You know how much we miss him? Do you know how much we miss him? It wasn't sentimentality, it was arithmetic. City had built 4 league titles and the first Champions League, partly on the labor of our players, whose contribution was so unglamorous, so rarely captured in a highlight clip that it took a serious injury and a very public trophy drought for the football world to finally price in what he was worth. The long road back, recovery from ACL reconstruction, follows a well-worn but unforgiving script. Months of rebuilding strength and range of motion before a player is even allowed to train with the group, let alone play. Rodri returned to team training in April 2025, 7 months after surgery, and made his delayed comeback off the bench against Bournemouth that May. Right at the tail end of a lost season. It wasn't a clean return. Selected for Manchester City's run at the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup in the United States that summer. He suffered a fresh fitness that put this fitness setback that pushed his timeline back again, costing him the start of the 2020-25-26 season. His first Premier League started nearly a year didn't arrive until the final weekend of August 2025. A defeat to Brighton in which he was, by most accounts, still City's best player on the pitch. More setbacks follow that autumn. A muscular knee problem forced him off inside 20 minutes of Brentford in October. Wary of a second serious undoing, more than a year of careful rehabilitation, Guardiola began deliberately capping him at 60-65 minutes per appearance. A Corley defending publicly and repeatedly, even as he caught his desperate to see their captain back at full tilt. By December 25, Guardiola was describing the club as effectively with obstacle. A split-second hesitation in a tackle. An instinct to protect a joint that once both injuries were added together. The physical rehabilitation may not even have been the hardest part. Players who return from Serie A's tears described the same as an obstacle. An instinct to protect a joint that once betrayed you the worst possible moment. Rodri's game, it was dependent on total conviction, committing to a challenge without calculation. Getting that instinct back, teammates would say, takes longer than any scan can measure. The loose sail ghost didn't leave when the lights dimmed in 22. They followed the captain through the dark patches when the touch was untrue. 2025 was a hollow year. Form was a jagged line. Watching the tape was a jagged line. Watching the tape, looking for the ghost of the player who used to shine. But the armband isn't a crown. It's a weight that you learn to distribute. Rebuilding the engine while the doubters offer a somber salute. From the dips in the grass to the heat in the chest, the focus is surgical. A tactical masterclass in the mirror, the comeback is illidrichical. The semi-final against France was supposed to be the hardest test of the tournament. A heavyweight matchup against one of the pre-tournament favorites, built around Kylian Mbappé and Ousmane Dembélé. It became the clearest single evening of proof that Rodri's comeback was complete. Cape Verde felt like a warm-up, but the intensity was a mandate. Austria was a clinic in the press, leaving them to contemplate. Portugal was a battle for the soul, an Iberian chess match. Winning the duels, healing the scars, watching the new legend attach. Belgium tried to break the line, but the structure held like steel. In the heat of Atlanta, the dream started feeling vividly real. Yeah. Every minute on the pitch, every tactical pivot he commanded. A full tournament run, precisely the way that the architect planned it. The semi-final against France was supposed to be the hardest test of the tournament. A heavyweight matchup against one of the pre-tournament favorites, built around Kylian Mbappé and Ousmane Dembélé. Instead, it became the clearest single evening of proof that Rodri's comeback was complete. Complete, yeah. Atlanta remembers the name. Redemption isn't a destination, it's a 120-minute game. Spain 2026, the captain stays. Across 90-plus minutes, he seemed to already be wherever the ball was headed, rather than where it had been. Intercepting passes meant for Dembélé, closing off Mbappé's favorite angles again and again. Covering more than 12.5 kilometers by the final whistle. France's coach pulled a starting mid-flighter at halftime, hunting for a foothold he never found. Spain won 2-0, goals from Michael Oyarzabal and Pedro Porro. And the Spanish press didn't hedge their language the next morning. Rodri, they wrote, had been all over the pitch. It was almost to the week, 22 months since his knee had buckled against Arsenal. Step by step, one step further, he said afterward. A modest sentence from a player not given to grand statements, describing what was, by any reasonable measure, one of the great injury come-up-backs in recent football history. Spain had reached their first World Cup final since they won the whole tournament in 2010.
Back to East Rutherford, New Jersey, present day. Which brings this story back to where it started, a training pitch outside MetLife Stadium, 2 days before a World Cup final against Argentina, a captain's armband, and a knee with a story written into the scar tissue. This documentary can't tell you how Sunday ends, nobody can yet. Not the broadcasters cutting their pre-match packages, not the bookmakers setting their odds who is single. Unglamorous mantra to anyone who'll listen. Whatever happens at MetLife Stadium, the shape of the story is already rare enough to be worth telling. A player good enough to be voted the best on earth. A player whose value became fully visible, took him away from the one sport that has ever really needed him. And a player who, 22 months later, walked back out and played as if none of it had happened at all. Manchester City spent a season and a half finding out, one lost trophy at a time, exactly what they built their successor ran on the pitch is the one you almost never notice. Pivot points, the fulcrum in the engine room, structural integrity, avoiding tactical doom. Spanish Daniel on the name, calm in the chaos. Spanish Daniel on the name, Rodri in the frame, calm in the chaos. I don't play a flashy game. Manchester gridlocked, architectural vision, dictating the tempo with clinical precision. The metronome, the anchor in the middle, solving every tactical riddle. Unseen architect building out the back, silent structural support for the attack. Engine of the cycle, keeping steady time, precision is the logic. Engine of the cycle, keeping steady time, precision is the logic, silence is the crime. Distribution lanes, lines drawn on the grass, defensive mid-master, precise with the pass. Low mid-pitch focus, low mid-pitch focus, voice grounded and gritty.